Good morning, students. Today we are starting with Chapter 2 of Business Studies Forms of Business Organization. So, to know the chapter much in detail, let us revise with the meaning of business. Business refers to economic activities which are connected with the production of or purchase and sale of goods or supply of services with the object of earning profit. So, in the first chapter, you have studied economic activities and non economic activities. Let us only see economic activities as business is one of the economic activity. So, what exactly economic activities are? The activities which are connected or concerned where you are either selling a product or you are rendering a service, and in return you are earning something, that is you are earning profit. Those activities we call them as economic activities. That is why we call business as economic activity. Now, in business, either you can manufacture the product by your own or acquire the product from some other manufacturer and sell it to the customer. So we say either production or acquisition of goods and then sell it to the customer. So business refers to economic activities which are connected with the production of or purchase and sale of goods. Now here you can offer a tangible product. Tangible product means your refrigerator, television, mobile set, where you can see the product, you can touch the product. Such products we call them as tangible goods. Even you can supply or even you can render services. Services means uh, where you cannot see the product but you can only feel it, like for example banking, transportation, communication, etc. We call them as services because they are intangible in nature. Now, business offers either tangible product or intangible service with the object of earning profit. This is what we call it as business. Business includes a wide variety of functions performed by many different kinds of organizations called enterprise or firms. So, when a person decides either to manufacture a product or to render a service, he has to either start an enterprise or a firm to provide that product or to render that services to the customers. So when the business is started, business performs certain variety of functions. So we'll see some functions performed by business. First one is financing, second one is production, third one is marketing, fourth one is human resource management. We call it as HRM. So what is financing? To start a business, we need money. So business, it is important, uh, uh, to start a business money is very important. So you acquire the funds and then you allocate the funds for different activities. You may raise the funds. If you have savings, you can invest your own savings, or you can apply for a loan from different commercial banks, and then you raise the money. The same raised money, you invest it or you allocate it for different activities. Like for example, you may buy a land, you may construct a factory, you install different machineries, you purchase raw material. So to do all this we need money. So the first important function performed by business is financing. Second one is production. Now, uh, production is concerned with, production is an activity where raw materials are converted into finished products. That is, raw material is given a form of a tangible product or an intangible service. This is what production is concerned with. Third one is marketing. Now once your finished product is ready, you need to do certain activities. That is, you have to inform the customers about the product, that such and such product is available in the market. So to exchange the goods from producer to ultimately to the customers or to the buyer, you have to perform different variety of activities. All those activities we call them as marketing activities. So third important function of business is marketing. Fourth one is human resource management. So what exactly human resource management aims at? So HRM aims at ensuring the availability of working people who have necessary skills to perform various tasks in the enterprises. So when we say that we are offering a product or rendering a service at in the office or at the office, we want people who have different kinds of skills to perform different kind of activities. So without HRM, it is highly impossible for any owner, any entrepreneur to perform his business activities. So coming to the main topic, that is forms of business organization. So now we are clear with what is business, what is an enterprise, being an enterprise, what functions they have to perform. Now we'll come to the main aspect of this chapter, that is called as forms of business organization or different types of business organization. So what exactly forms of business organization means? So when a person decides that he wants to start his own business, what does it mean? It means that he has to decide, he or she has to decide the legal structure of his or her own business. So mainly it is a legal form decided by a person. We call it as forms of business organization. So business must adopt some legal structure. Every person who wants to manufacture a product or render a service to the customers to earn profit, he has to decide a legal structure. So what this legal structure includes? This legal structure includes many aspects. First one is ownership, second one is control, third one is personal liability, fourth one is lifespan, and fifth one is financial structure. So first one tells about the ownership, that is who will be owning the person, whether only single person is handling the business or single person is investing the entire money, then the ownership lies with only single person. So who are the owners? Second one is who will control the business. Third one is personal liability. If anything happens in the business, any loss takes place in the business, how that loss will be recovered, how much your personal assets are attached to the firm. Fourth one is lifespan, what will be the duration of your business. And last one is financial structure, that is how you are going to raise the funds for your business activities. Now there are different, in this chapter you will be studying five types of or five various forms of business organization as per your syllabus. So first one is sole proprietorship, we also call it as sole trading concern. Second one is joint Hindu family business, that is Hindu undivided family, in short we call it as HUF. Third one is partnership. Fourth one is cooperative societies. Fifth one is joint stock company. In this chapter, we are going to study these five forms of organization much in detail, but for time being, we will see them in short. That is, only we will see the meaning, and later we'll take up these five forms of organization one by one much in detail. So first one is sole proprietorship. We also call it as sole trading concern. So there are two terms in sole proprietorship. One is sole and second one is proprietor. So sole means single and proprietor means owner. So by this we may say this is a form of business organization which is owned, managed, and controlled by a single person. So, sole proprietorship is a kind of form of organization where there is only single owner who raises the funds, who manages the entire business, and who alone controls the entire activities of the firm, means he himself takes the entire decision of the organization. That is why we call it as sole proprietorship or sole trading concern. Such kind of business is suitable for small businesses. You can take a small scale industry, even you can take a general store, medical store, a small restaurant. So where the monetary financial requirement is less, and the business can be handled by a single person. That is why we call it as sole proprietorship or sole trading concern. Second form of organization, that is Hindu Undivided Family, HUF, or Joint Hindu Family Business. We'll see only the meaning. This is a specific and a oldest form of business organization found only in India. As we know, joint family system is existed in India. It is still there, and such kind of businesses which comes out of family owned businesses, what we call it as, such businesses we call it as Hindu Undivided Family. So business is owned and carried on by members of Hindu Undivided Family. We call it as Hindu Undivided Family Business or Joint Hindu Family Business. Now this particular business is governed by Hindu law. That is how to carry the business, what are the rules, regulations, everything is mentioned in Hindu law. Now, who controls the business? The eldest member of the family takes the entire decision about the business, and that eldest member of the family, we call him as Karta, and other persons of the family we call them as co-parceners. So in Hindu Undivided Family, the head of the family, that is the eldest member, we call him as Karta, and the other members of the family we call them as co-parceners. So this is about only the meaning about joint Hindu family business. The third form of business organization is partnership. So what exactly partnership is? It is a formal arrangement by two or more persons to manage and operate a business and share its profit. If the business is owned, managed by a single person, we call it as sole proprietorship. If the business is managed by two or more persons, we will call it as partnership. So here in partnership, investment is shared, profit is also shared, and risk is also shared by the partners. That is why we call it as partnership firm. This form of organization helps to generate more capital, varied skills, and sharing of risk as compared to sole trading concern. In sole trading concern, only single person invests the funds, but in partnership there are more than two persons who are controlling, managing, or owners of the firm. They can invest more money. That money we call it as capital. Varied skills, as there are more than two persons in the firm, they might be specialized in many activities, so running the business becomes easy. And risk is also shared, means if no doubt if there are profits are shared by the partners, but if loss takes place in the business, that loss is also shared between or amongst the partners. Now, this particular form of business organization is governed by Indian Partnership Act 1932. Coming to next, the fourth form of business organization is cooperative societies. Now, what exactly cooperative societies means? Cooperative means working together for a common purpose. Now, cooperative societies are formed with a basic principle, that is one for all, one for all, and all for one. That is, there is no discrimination of gender, caste, economic status, etc. It is a voluntary association of persons who join together with a motive of welfare of the members, who are deprived of some economic benefit will come together voluntarily Nobody will force you to be the member of joint cooperative society. You, by your own, you join the cooperative society, you become the member of a cooperative society. That is why we call it as a voluntary association of persons who come together with a motive, that is to earn, to have some economic benefit. This particular cooperative society's activities are governed by Cooperative Societies Act of 1912. Coming to the last form of business organization, that is joint stock company. Now joint stock company also, it's a voluntary association of persons formed for carrying out business activities and has a legal status independent of members. So it is described as an artificial person having a separate legal entity with a perpetual succession and a common seal. Now, joint stock company is a voluntary association. You can raise funds in joint stock company by selling maximum number of shares to unlimited members. The members you can, you have unlimited members, means there is no restriction on the number of members when it comes to joint stock company. So in joint stock company, a maximum amount of money can be raised by issuing number of shares. That is why we call it as, when we compare it to other forms of organization, joint stock company helps a firm or a business to raise maximum amount of capital. It is, once the joint stock company is registered, it gets a legal status, and we call it as a artificial person. Obviously not a natural person like human beings, but it is called as, after registration, joint stock company gets a separate legal existence in the eyes of law, and we call it as a artificial person. Having a separate entity means the owners are different and a joint stock company is different, with a perpetual succession in the sense continuous existence. Like for example, if under sole trading concern, if anything happens to a sole trader, that is the owner of sole trading concern, the ultimate uh, outcome of sole trading concern is the sole trading concern business will get closed. But in case of joint stock company, if anything happens to owner, the company doesn't get closed, the company continues for a longer period of time. So that is why we call it as a perpetual succession, that is continuous existence and a common seal. Common seal means like how, if the owner of the firm, how he puts his signature on important documents, same way, being a artificial person, joint stock company will also have its signature, that is stamp, and name of the company will be engraved on a stamp, seal. That seal we call it as common seal, and which is must and compulsory on all the important documents, which is termed as the signature of joint stock company. We will study this joint stock company much in detail with its features, advantages, disadvantages in the upcoming classes. So this joint stock company is also governed by a separate act, that is Companies Act of 1956, and recently that act is amended in the year 2013. So we have to say Companies Act is governed by uh, companies activities are governed by Companies Act of 2013. Thank you.